Hey, this is Raul Sanchez Martinez Gomez Flores Lopez Torres Montoya Montez, and I'm kind of a big deal. And this is the journey to Benson, Minnesota. I'm gonna take you back to my hometown where I grew up. We're gonna go through a lot of small towns. I'm gonna talk a little bit about each town, maybe some stories about growing up. I don't know. Stick with me, we're gonna have a fun day. And remember, this is all about Scarlet Red Vodka. Crisp, clean, no aftertaste. Say it with me, it's amazing. Let's go for our ride. We're gonna fire up the 76 Cadillac Eldorado and we're gonna head west to Benson, Minnesota. Let's have a great day. Hey, let's start our journey. There it is. One of the first towns outside of Minneapolis is Golden Valley. We're going through Golden Valley right now. So a spot where I spend my summers is Lake Minnetonka, one of the most amazing lakes I think in the United States. So one of the great cities on the way to Benson is the northernmost city on Lake Minnetonka, and it's called Wayzata, and it's an amazing place. One of our favorite spots is the Cove right here on the beautiful Lake Minnetonka. But this is an amazing place to come if you're ever visiting Minnesota. Lake Minnetonka is one of the best lakes in the entire world. There are a dozen restaurants on the lake, and there's three towns actually, that are around the lake. And it's an amazing place. So back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, people would come out from Minnesota in their carriages, and the trolley car's last stop was right there in Wayzata, Minnesota. You could take the trolley right to Lake Minnetonka. On the other side of Lake Minnetonka is Excelsior. In Excelsior, they used to have the Excelsior Amusement Park. So currently we're 2 hours and 16 minutes away from Benson, about 141 miles. Let's enjoy the trip together. And if you've already poured yourself a Scarlet Red Vodka, good job. As we drive around beautiful Lake Minnetonka, you can see why it's so wonderful. And this is Navarre Minocco, my 1976 Cadillac Eldorado. One of the things that has changed in the last 20 years was Highway 12 West. We are driving on the original 2-lane road. Now it's been turned into a mini freeway until you get outside of the western suburbs area. And here is the town that you would go through that is currently now bypassed, which is Long Lake. Nice little town on the north side of Lake Minnetonka. So as we come into Long Lake, it's a small town, but they've got a lot of fun places. In this place on the corner here called the Red Rooster, my grandfather was a truck driver, and my dad told me that that was one of his last stops to have a quick drink before heading back to Benson. Here it is. One of the great places that carries Scarlet Red Vodka is Lakeside Wine and Spirits. Right here, Brian and Pat, brothers that own both liquor stores, the one in Minneapolis called Lowry Hill Liquors and Lakeside Liquors. On the right-hand side is Otten Brothers, Cliff Otten. We used to be in Wayzata Rotary together. Great guy, and that was his landscape business. If you're ever in Maple Plain, we are in the Liquor Depot in Maple Plain. Just off to the left, right here, this used to be a BMX park right there. As a kid, I remember driving down and they would be racing BMX bicycles right there in Maple Plain. And if you're ever looking for a small crane, you know where you can find it. Herculift, right here in Maple Plain. You can't forget the Polaris dealership here on the outskirts of Maple Plain. The town we're gonna hit is Independence. Boy, that wasn't very long. Just to let you know, it's maybe a half a mile to a mile in between these two towns. I remember going to Independence because they had an amazing park with a zip line, and my parents and my aunt and uncle would take me to Independence to go to the park and have a picnic. It was a great time. You get out to the countryside quick. This part outside of the Twin Cities is kind of woody, some swamps. There's some horse activity here, things like that. In a short drive, we're gonna get to mainly farmland. So if you've never been to a small town, basically it's a 2-lane highway all the way there. Now we're entering the town of Delano. And there are a few liquor stores in Delano that carry Scarlet Red vodka. So here's the town of Delano. There's a Papa Murphy's right there, and Urgent Care. Those are newer locations. It's not a very big town. I think it's probably around 1,100 to 1,200 people. And as a little kid, I remember I'd come to Delano with my cousins to the movie theater right there. As we leave Delano, this is what the countryside looks like. We got Beans over to the right of us. Just outside of Delano, this is new. Tuffy's Treat Company. Growing up, this was not here. Now it's a large online pet store company. We're gonna start to see fields of corn. More fields of corn, more fields of corn. Oh Brothers, we, Scarlet Red Vodka, are in Oh Brothers Wine and Spirits in Montrose, Minnesota. Litchfield is actually one of the 2 bigger towns that you will find on the way to Benson from Minneapolis. First town that you're gonna come to outside of the Twin Cities is Litchfield. It's about an hour outside of the Twin Cities, maybe 45 minutes. And then the second biggest town that you're gonna see, which is actually bigger than Litchfield, is Wilmer. And then about 30 miles west of Wilmer is Benson. Ugly Bar on and off sale, Montrose. And what's a small town without a Dollar General? Dollar General. As we leave Montrose, Minnesota, there's a cool old farmstead with a old barn, and then a newer barn. One thing that you're gonna start to see a lot of is there's a lot of newer homes coming out in these smaller towns. We're heading into Waverly, Minnesota right now. If you're looking for a refurbished camper, right outside Montrose. The next town we're coming into is Howard Lake. Population 2,071. I remember as a kid, we always stop in Howard Lake. There used to be a couple antique stores, and it was very fun to look around. We'd get treats, candies, and see if we could find some antique that we liked. As you come into this town, you'll notice it's a typical small Minnesota town. I remember going to the Lake Bowl. The Lake Bowl has seen its better days and is no longer. As we leave this town, we're heading to Dassel, Cokato. So we're approximately 84 miles away from Benson, having a nice little drive today. It's a little cooler, but it's a beautiful fall day. Join me for a ride. Up here on the left is a fun go-kart racetrack. It's amazing. I've gone there quite a few times. And there it is. Go-kart track with go-kart rentals. Fun time for all. We're now entering the town of Cokato. Cokato with the countryside apple farm. Entering Cokato. Look at that. Cokato, town of 2,799 persons. Here we are coming into the town of Cokato. We've got a Cenex. Cenex is a business that's in a lot of small towns offering gas services, oil filling station, that type of thing. We got the Quick Trip. Casey's basically are in a lot of the western small towns. There's a Dairy Queen in Cokato right here on the left-hand side. When me and my family would come to the Twin Cities, that would be someplace we'd always stop. Just on the outskirts of Cokato is a beautiful golf course. In high school, I used to run cross country, and this was one of the locations that we would go and run cross country. And the next town, Dassel, 5 miles away. Now this is what we're getting to be more typical farmland, wide open, not as many groves of trees, fields of corn. As I grew up on a corn farm, I would always go with my dad and my brother to the Payco Seeds headquarters, which is now Syngenta, but it used to be Payco, and I loved going because we'd always get hats. Spring Lake before you come into Dassel, Minnesota. Hey, it's Dassel, Minnesota, town of 1,472 people. Here we are, coming into the town of Dassel. You see few businesses on the left, few businesses on the right. Red Rooster Foods. If you're ever in the mood for a Bobcat, that's where you can come. Bobcat Central right here. Next town we're going to is Darwin, but here's the Darwin Rod and Gun Club. I've been there before, shooting, yay! Darwin, Minnesota. As a kid coming through Darwin, we could see the world's largest ball of twine on the side of the road. Now they've actually moved it into a museum. Yeah, that's right. The world's largest ball of twine in the town of Darwin. 350 people live in Darwin. The second largest town between Minneapolis and Benson. Population of around 6,200 people. So you're definitely gonna see a little bigger town here. I'll give you some snippets as I drive through. Fun cafe that me and my parents would always go to, Swan's Cafe. And another fun bar that we would go to. Now it's called the Muddy Cow. But as you can see, it has like an old silo in the front. Here we are going through Litchfield Main Street. You can tell it's a little bigger town. They've got the Hollywood Theater off to the right. And off to the left, you will find the Litchfield Dairy Queen. The next town we're entering is Grove City. Population of 624. Off to the left, you'll see a small elevator. And off to the right, you'll see another Cenex gas station. As we leave Grove City, it's the Minnesota Beer Company. As I had told you before, the largest city between Benson and Minneapolis is Willmar. We're about 18 miles away. Hope you're having a nice trip with me and learning a few things about western Minnesota. Now we're entering Candiota County, the town of Atwater, 1,133 souls. It's the Atwater Water Tower. Fields and fields of corn. We're entering Candiota. Population 491 people. You'll see an elevator, older elevator, little repair business off to the left, and a gas station. And that's it. So come on down to Candiota and check it out. Well, we're approximately 37 miles to Benson. We have, take a guess, how many more towns do we have to go through before we get to Benson? More cornfields. Well, we're just entering Willmar. Like I said, it's the biggest town between Minneapolis and Benson. It has a population of 21,000 people. West Side Liquors, right there, a great partner of Scarlet Red Premium Vodka. When you come through Willmar from the east on Highway 12, you'll notice there are still a lot of older homes along this stretch of the road. This was the main road that would go through Willmar. Still is the main road. They've actually bypassed the downtown area and you go around the old downtown area. BNSF, Willmar, Burlington Northern, and Santa Fe. One of my good friends, Nathan Norby, I graduated with him from Benson. He has worked at Burlington Northern. Jenny O Turkeys. This was the original factory of Jenny O's Turkeys. Well, we're just leaving Willmar, Minnesota, on our way to Benson. We have 30 miles to go and we will pull into Benson. And the first place that we're gonna see is the Benson Municipal on and off sale liquor store bar. Tell me, which town would you like me to come and visit? And Raul, Sanchez, Martinez, Gomez, Flores, Lopez, Torres, Montoya, Montez will show up and talk about your town. Now we're entering the town of Pennock, population 508 people. As we leave Pennock, you're going to see wide open farmland now. We're now coming into the town of Kerkhoven, Minnesota. It has a population of 805 persons. Kerkhoven Speedway, Kerkhoven Water Tower. As we leave Kerkhoven, we get a few more trees next to the highway. This is the town of Murdoch. Population 306 people. Murdoch has one of the largest cooperative elevators for farmers. We are now entering the town of DeGraff, Minnesota. Population 110 persons. As we exit the city of DeGraff, Minnesota, maybe you want to come down, check out the DeGraff liquor store. Here, as we're just a few miles outside of Benson, Minnesota. Thanks for coming with me on this journey. Hope you got a chance to see some of the countryside in western Minnesota. If you ever have the opportunity to come and visit, please do so. Here, as we come into Benson, off to the right is AgriLight Cooperative Electric Services. A lot of the farmland that Case IH has built on was my dad and my uncle's farmland that they sold to Case IH so that they could expand their business here in Benson. They sell a applicator right there. One of my friends growing up, Troy Kennedy Excavating right there. Now as we're coming into Benson, there is the John Deere dealership off to the right. Midwest Machinery. We've reached Benson after 2.5 hours, and here on the right-hand side will be the Benson Municipal on and off liquor store. We'll do a little drive around. There it is. The Benson Municipal Liquor Store, proud to be a partner with Scarlet Red Premium Vodka, the on and off sale here in Benson. The off sale liquor store is to the right, and off to the left is the bar. Things in Benson have changed quite a bit. When I grew up, this center area used to have a ton of trees, a little waterfall. Right here on the corner used to be a large elevator. On both sides of the railroad tracks, Benson was unique that it had businesses on both sides of the tracks here, and then over on the left-hand side as well. One of our favorite places to go, the DeMarce Theater right there. What a great place. What a fun childhood to spend time at the DeMarce Theater. As we come through, you'll see the Benson Water Tower. And here is McKinney's Southside, one of my great partner locations. Let's take a look around. I'll show you where it's at. McKinney's Southside is connected to the Country Inn and Suites. My friend Brady owns the business, and I'm so proud to say we've partnered together with my Scarlet Red Premium Vodka.